What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down Saturday, and today we're going to be talking about the TFcon stuff. We're going to talk about fans' toys a little bit as well. Also, before we get started, happy Halloween. I know this year's been a rough one. I know that different states have different rules and regulations regarding the trick-or-treating and all of that, but I hope that you guys are able to find some sort of festive nature, enjoy time with family, watch a scary movie, do something, feel good. Before we get into the TFcon reveals, I do want to do a little bit of house cleaning. Not that much this week, thank God. Last week was brutal. The Transformers Red figures. Apparently, there's a pull-down ankle joint. It's one of the problems that I run into when I'm looking at other people's figures, that I don't like to yank and tug on joints, but that's on me. So there's more ankle rocker articulation apparently. I can't say how much because I've already packaged them up and sent them to someone else, but I missed it. I missed 6 ankles. And 2,344 of you missed 2,343's previous comments saying the same thing in my comment section. But it's all good. Who's keeping count? But my bad on that. Apparently there's more of an ankle rocker. People were in those comments acting like these figures are terrible. They're not. They're not great. They're slightly disappointing. Perhaps more so because we know that Hasbro can do better with action figures because they make pretty good action figures these days. Star Wars stuff is just troopers and exclusives, and it's beginning to bang me down to the ground like whack-a-mole. Last week's Sit Down Saturday on the Studio Series. I mean, apparently there's mixed feelings in regard to it. I think it's a good call on them. There's a lot of people saying, but it was supposed to be, I want my movie stuff, and I get it. I understand, right? I think a lot of people see G1 the same way that I see the original trilogy when it comes to Star Wars. They love G1, they appreciate G1, they like to see G1 win, but they don't need it to be G1 all the time. It's kind of how I view Star Wars. I love the original trilogy. My kids are named after characters from the original trilogy or related to characters from the original trilogy. I grew up on the original trilogy, but I also like the other stuff to get it shine, and I like to move beyond the original trilogy. So I understand, I get it, but at the same time, I also understand that original trilogy is always going to be the bread and butter. G1 is always going to be the bread and butter. We're going to always come back to it because that's what makes the money. And at the end of the day, it's all about the money. What we spend and what they pocket. Them the rules. I know you hate to hear it. I hate to say it. Hate to tell it. Hate to speak it. But it's a fact. And facts don't have feelings. Alright, last thing before we get started. First of all, thank you to everybody that ordered blankets. The deal is still on through today and tomorrow. So if you want the blankets that I have in stock for shipping on me, hit me up and we'll get it out to you. Check with me about stock and stuff because I did sell a few and most of them have been received, I think, by this point. So kudos to all you guys. But I told you there would be a pre-order today. I'm often hit up for my Dinobot piece of the team in dinosaur mode in the blanket form. I had them for the first time last year at TFcon. They sold out before noon on the first day of the con. I haven't had them since. I am doing a pre-order right now that'll run for 2 weeks. So 2 sit-down Saturdays from today. For the Sherpa and the Woven, email me here to place an order. Payment is due up front, and I should have them to you by mid-December, in time for Christmas, if not beforehand. The Sherpa is $135 shipped in the United States. International folks, get with me privately. The Woven is $160 shipped in the United States. They are machine washable. We suggest on cold water. They're big, 50 by 60, 50 by 70, somewhere around there. The Woven is bigger than the Sherpa. They're both high quality. The Woven is a different aesthetic look. It looks like a tapestry more so. The Sherpa looks more like a direct print, and a portion of the proceeds go towards a public servant that lost his battle to cancer this year and happened to be a friend of mine. Goes to his family. So if you are interested, you have 2 weeks to pre-order. I'll remind you next week. Let me know. Email me here. It's a very easy email. BobbySkullface@gmail.com. Couldn't be simpler. Alright? And thank you all in advance. And now we can pretty much move on to the TFcon reveals, and I want to talk about them. I want to talk about what was absent from them, obviously. We'll save that till afterwards. And I also want to talk about some interesting positive factors to it. Some things that we're maybe not taking into consideration completely. It wasn't a bad show. We've seen a lot of bad third-party panels recently just because people haven't wanted to show off any product. But there was a lot of product in this one. But there was also some stuff that was obviously missing. We're going to talk about it all, but first let's talk about what we did see.
So let's begin. Forgive any audio echo. I had to kind of record this on the fly, but hopefully it won't be too distracting. And I think to everyone's surprise, it started with Make Toys, who I think most of us, despite any social media offerings they had suggested, had pretty much written them off. And when I saw that logo pop up as the first slide, I got excited. And I'm going to tell you, it takes a lot to get me excited, like really excited. these days. But I did. However, that excitement was temporary as we moved into even more Seekers. Another release of their Starscream just in time to make one more run before the Takara drops, and then their Acid Storm. But then we did get yet another somewhat confirmation of their Coneheads coming, and I believe that this Remaster X, the EX, is going to refer to Extra. So some of the stuff is not counting necessarily as a proper release from them, just more as an additional release or a bonus release. And then they showed a cross-dimension Shockwave, which looks on par with what they've been doing. And this was on the TFW website, but I don't remember seeing this in the slideshow itself. Doesn't mean it wasn't there, but because there was no audio to go along with it, I don't recall it if it was there. And then we got Planet X, another company that was good to see kind of snap back into this stuff, mainly with retools and repaints, but we did get a Shockwave offering. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I love that they just stay in their lane with this stuff. They're like, look, we love these video games. We love the designs. We're doing them all. This is us. This is where we live right here. You don't need to make pizza. They got food there. I love that about them a lot. And then we got their Grimlock, which is an IDW Grimlock. So I'm guessing it's going to be more masterpiece scaled, which I am excited about. However, as I kind of said on the live, this only means something to me if they do the rest of the Scavengers. If they're only doing Grimlock, it means far less to me. But if they do Misfire and Croc and all those guys, and Spinster, they'll have my attention. But I'm not sure what their intention is. Looks good either way. Zeta Toys, much in the same realm as Make Toys, where I got excited to see the logo and then disappointed to see the offerings. We're getting a Legend Scale Superion, which ironically, Sam's Formers pointed out to me, doesn't look a whole lot like their Superion. Obviously, it looks like Superion and theirs looks like Superion. So there are similarities, but there's a lot more similarities perhaps in the Fans Toys offerings as well, which I thought was interesting. And it looks like they got all 5 ready to go. Unfortunately, still nothing on their Predacons. However, they did offer this, which is new under their flag, where their Raiden seems to be under the Moon Studios, which we'll get to here momentarily. And then we got a new company, Kidman, with their non-transformable Grimlock and Galvatron, both of which look good. However, both of which are too stylized. And I don't mean that in the sense that they're not G1. I mean that in the sense of I don't know where they're from. That it doesn't do much for me other than look cool. And it does look cool. And then we got another new company, which was nice to see. I always welcome new companies these days. But Megatank with their self-titled debut. A Megatron that turns into a tank. A ton of paint and weathering done to this guy, which does look great. But they've blurred his face out, which means they're either not happy with it or there's something special about it. Because it's not like you don't know who he's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Fans Hobby still in the game, with once again another company kind of staying within their lane. More of the Japanese continuation stuff. Headmaster Juniors. If they do the Deceps, I might be interested. I'm interested in this one anyway because I want to see if it's of the caliber of most of their releases or of the kind of less than like their Minerva, which didn't feel like their previous releases. It felt substandard for them. So I am curious to see if that's something to expect with all of their Headmaster Juniors or if the Minerva thing was kind of a one-off. But I am excited about the prospect of them finishing the Headmaster Juniors. Maybe even getting into Headmasters and Target Masters. Wouldn't that be nice? We got the Raiden from Moon Studios, which we've kind of already talked about recently at length, so I'm not going to take too much time on that one. Then we have Kang Toys, or pronounced Chung Toys, I believe. And did they show us what it looks like with Monkey Pants? Nope. Did they show us anything new? Nope. They showed us what we've already seen, which is Dive Bomb. We just see more pictures of Dive Bomb. So, kind of a disappointing reveal here as well. And then we get some Lemon Tree stuff, there's Shockwave, and then a whole bunch of movie stuff. Tons and tons of movie designs, all seem to be named after fruits and vegetables, which I dig the gimmick of, but no shortage of movie stuff out there these days, so you kind of had to really be in for this stuff, and I'm not sure that I am. It all looks good, though. And then the kind of last 2 heavy hitters, we have X-Transbots offering up the Omnibots, which is pretty cool. Something that a lot of us have wanted. It would be nice to kind of get stuff from the cartoon first and then kind of finish with this stuff, but I'll take what I can get at this point. And the good news is both of these offerings look good, and if they've done 2, they're more than likely going to do the 3rd, so I'm on board. I'm definitely getting these. I'm happy that they're doing them. I think it's a smart move. I think it's uncharted waters, and I think that they look good. And then they're Streetwise, which I can tell you is going to be just in scale with their Minosaur offering bot-wise, so everything should line up. And the combined mode is going to be 50 centimeters, which is a little shy of the Zeta stuff, and Toy World stuff, and DX9 stuff, and Fans Toy stuff, so a little shorter, but it might still work. I'm anxious to get their trailer for their Minosaur so that I can have a better idea of what to expect, but it's exciting nonetheless because we need Protectobots. And then our last company is MMC with a Getaway Exodus, which is nice. It's a retool of their Rodimus, but a smart retool and a retool that works. And then we've got some of these guys here, these primes, and it's my understanding that they're going to be doing a lot of leaders. Of different, across their different, Perfection series or whatever, which I guess shouldn't come as any surprise and doesn't really come as any excitement for me. But what does come as an exciting release is their Rung. I never thought this character would see the light of day. I never thought it would be possible, and I'm super excited about it. It looks fantastic. It comes with a ton of accessories. It was easily the reveal that I was most happy with. Kind of caught me way off guard. And then they closed out with their Protectobots, which look great. Once again, I think the sacrifices are probably made in order to pull off the all-in-one, and I don't have a whole lot of faith in their combined mode due to the Bruticus, and I'm not going to buy tap dancing shoes for it, and it's too small for my collection. However, the beautiful thing about them and X-Transbots going at it is I can get the X-Transbots for combined mode if the Minosaur works out nicely, and I can get these guys for robot mode, because these, in my opinion, look a lot better than the Bruticus offering, where the Onslaught kind of looked wonky. I feel like this Hotspot looks a lot better, looks a lot more closer to the mark. The only other one that I'm slightly concerned about is Groove, but Groove's a tricky one to pull off anyway. So I was really excited to see this. In my opinion, the X-Transbots, Protectobots, and Omnibots, and then MMC with Rung and their Protectobots is a tie for stealing this year's show for the American TFcon. Like really, really, really impressive stuff. And thank God, exciting.
And what didn't we see? So one thing that I found surprising was that we didn't see any Legends reveals from New Age or Magic Square, the two big contenders. The question is why? We also didn't see you-know-who, but we'll get to that in a second. My theory is, and I said this a bit in the live video, my theory is those two companies are playing it so close to the chest that they don't want to reveal what they're working on to the other company. It's the only thing I can come up with. They're both very successful, so I can't imagine that they're going down the tubes. But with third party taking a heavy stance on Legends, really leaning into the Legends, it was weird not to see a whole lot of Legends stuff. Oddly enough, we didn't see anything from Iron Factory either, which I personally find more surprising than the Magic Square or the New Age stuff. And then we didn't see anything from Fans Toys, right? But we're seeing more screenshots of distributors saying that they're having problems. I'm going to talk about it more, I think, next week. I just feel like we're getting more information, but let me say this. I did a Patreon thing where I talked about my theories and stuff. I'll readdress that next week. But let's really take notice of who we are hearing the issues are from. We're not hearing it from Fans Toys. We're hearing it from small, namely Eastern distributors. So let's just keep those things in perspective. They might be changing the way they do business. It might be just as simple as that. Was it weird that they weren't present? Absolutely. Does it help calm any fears out there? Absolutely not. But the truth is they haven't been shut down. No one's been arrested. We know that. The question is, what is going on? We're going to get into some theories next week. We're going to do some speculative stuff. We're going to talk about some bread and butter stuff. We're going to talk about some of the recent developments, but we're going to save it for next week. We don't have any concrete information to suggest that it's over for them. And to go into phase 3 crisis mode is very premature. We just don't have the evidence to support such a thing. But more on that next week. I am excited about Protectobots. I want Protectobots very bad. I wish we got more variety of stuff. I wish we got, Technobots, and, there's a lot that out there that I'm starting to get concerned about really putting on the shelf. But at least we're getting something. We're getting the Omnibots. X-Transbots is stepping up to the bat a little bit, and that's good. Still some weird choices. I still think they can make some really home run choices, and they haven't really, with the exception of the Protectobots. So not a bad show overall, and it looks like a lot of companies are getting up and running, if not continuing on. So at least things are moving again, it feels like. It feels like it's been stagnant for the past year and a half maybe. Now it feels like there's a little momentum, a little bit of steam behind it, which is nice to see. Anyway, happy Halloween. Spend some time with your family. Spend some time with some loved ones. Enjoy the evening. And I'm going to take these stupid ears off. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.